Please silence your phones if you have any, and could we please have the roll call?
Yes. So Ken Beliski,
Here.
Nick Burns,
Here.
Nina Beasley,
Here.
Cindy Bessie.
Here.
All right.
Thank you.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any corrections to the March 19th, 2025 regular meeting minutes?
No.
There's one misspelled word, but I think it's just like a clerical thing. I could maybe address that at the end. Do you think that would be fine?
Oh, right, what is the word we'll get corrected from?
I'm gonna have to look it up real quick. But I read all the documents, and when I was reading, I was like, oh, that word's misspelled. But
Okay.
I-
Either that or I could go through it tomorrow. and
okay,
make the
yeah,
correction.
or even at the end. It's
Possibly
like
me. I can only see out of one eye right now.
it's really minor, like misspelling, like about or something like that. You know,
Okay.
it was really like more clerical.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
okay.
some not anything significant that changes anything. So, all right. So, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion to approve March 19th minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. So we will now have the consideration, a public hearing for the consideration of Around the Lake zoning map amendment. And let me pull this up real quick.
Yes.
So, let me see real quick. So is this going to be like, would it be a quasi-judicial process? Okay, good, I got the template for that, so. previous. I always carry them with me just to have them, so. Alrighty. Okay, so I will now open the public hearing. Following the public hearing, the commission will consider all relevant evidence and legal criteria stated in the Rathdrum City Code and give its recommendations. So, are there any conflicts of interest, ex parte communications, or bias that any of you need to put on the record?
No.
No.
All right, is there any member of the audience who wishes to challenge the participation of any commissioner based on the appearance of fairness grounds? All righty. So, go ahead and go through all the ground rules, even though,
Even though.
yeah,
yes.
already. So, this hearing shall proceed as follows. Staff will introduce the application with a brief overview. The applicant will present their application. Staff will present their report. The members of the public will have the opportunity to testify, starting with those in favor, then neutral, then those opposed. If you'd like to speak, you must sign in, including your address, on one of the public hearing comment sheets and provide the sheet to me or staff. When your name is called, please approach the microphone, state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak, and they should be addressed to the, your comments should be addressed to the commission, be relevant to the information on the record, and the legal criteria the commission will be considering for this application. Please do not be derogatory or repetitive. So public comment will not be accepted out of order from seated members of the public or after the hearing is closed, so please make sure that you speak during your time provided if so motivated. Following the public testimony, the applicant will have a chance for rebuttal. So does anybody in the audience have any questions about these rules? All right, so we will now proceed to the brief overview.
The brief overview.
Yes.
First of all, I have to apologize for the confusion. I entered this rezone into our system as Around the Lake Main Street rezone. The property is actually addressed on Coeur d'Alene, and the Around the Lake bit is the LLC that the owner of the property has. So the staff report doesn't really represent that as well, but it was on the application, which is attached to the package and was available online. This is a request to rezone a 0.27 acre parcel, that's about 11,761 square feet, from its current zoning of R3 to C1, general commercial. This parcel is located at the end of Main Street. Across the street is the site of the old city morgue. Presenting for the applicant is Merle Van Houten of Van Houten Consulting and Design. We will go right over to you. Just That's a slideshow, but
There it is.
just tell me when to click and I'll click for it.
Oh, okay, all right. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Merle Van Houten of Van Houten Consulting and Design. The address is 401.5 East Sherman Avenue. So I'm here tonight representing Around the Lake LLC. The request before you is to rezone the address. I just lost the address, but rezone the property from an R3 to a C1. So a little bit about me. I am the owner of Van Houten Consulting and Design. I'm a civil engineer by trade. I've been in the area for over 20 years now. And Around the Lake LLC is a local owner and developer who has other projects here in Kootenai County. And he sees this as an opportunity to continue what's been developing lately along Main Street in Rathdrum and provide continuity as we get to the end of Main Street there. So the R3 designation is currently medium residential. This would provide more like the continuation of the commercial and architectural feel that we see down in Main Street. So if you could change that again. So just kind of looking around at what currently is out there. To the north we have the C1 zone and the downtown commercial district, which also extends out to the east. We have a small piece of property that's publicly owned, but beyond that is C1 for the extent of Main Street there. We have industrial behind us, and we have R3 continuing as we move south down Coeur d'Alene Street. So really it's just currently an R3 designation that's surrounded by other commercial uses and industrial use, and then finally R3 as you head down Coeur d'Alene. So the next few slides are just to kind of give us a street view of it. We're looking straight ahead from Main Street here at the current condition. We've got again the industrial use off to the right, and then the commercial uses starting kind of in the foreground there. Next one, please. And then as we turn around 180 degrees and look down towards Main Street, as you guys are all very well familiar with, we have the established commercial uses along the frontage. And down Coeur d'Alene, it's just a straight shot to the highway. So this is a development that whatever the intended use and developed use will be, will not have any impact on local roads. All ingress and egress will move through Coeur d'Alene Street or through Main Street to one of the arterials. Thank you. So as far as the zoning map goes, this is where we currently stand. The red is commercial. That blue hatch is the downtown commercial district, and James can correct me if I'm wrong, but this subject property is now within that downtown commercial district.
It is. We amended the boundaries. This property is now included in the district. I'll show a slide, or we'll show that.
So a couple of notes to go along with that point. We are in fact within the downtown district, and there's the section of Rathdrum code that says within the boundaries of the downtown district, no zoning designation shall be allowed that is either existing as of the date of the adoption of this code, or 2 is C1 general commercial. So the C1 code designation is heavily considered as the appropriate use in that district. Future land use map. The lavender color is downtown commercial. You can see that we're fronted on 2 sides more or less by that, and to the south and to the west is established residential. So again, we're just trying to move from the established residential into that commercial zone. That is also part of that overlay. Again, a part of quoting Rathdrum code there, if any real property is within 300 feet of a planned zoning designation depicted within the future land use map, that planned zoning designation may be interpreted to apply with said real property. So that's how we're seeking compliance. We don't want to go beyond what the city has envisioned, and this is how we comply with what the city has laid out in the future land use. Okay, so in order to consider this request, there are some criteria that you have to consider as commissioners, and so I'll quickly go through those here. Number one is encourage commercial development to locate within established districts or in areas where commercial uses are compatible with surrounding uses. So we are, again, within that downtown district, which establishes us in that criteria. Number two is areas of commercial development should be located as to accessible arterials which have minimum impact to surrounding homes and street traffic. So as I pointed out on the street view, we're directly connected to the arterials. Creating a commercial use here will not introduce new traffic to local residential. Everything's already tied to arterials. Criteria number three, commercial development should be designated as such in Rathdrum Comprehensive Plan, City of Rathdrum Future Land Use Map. And I think that goes back to the previous slide where we were discussing how if you're within 300 feet of that designation, then the intent is there. Number four, proposed commercial areas should be located where adequate municipal water, sewer, as well as other services such as fire and police can be provided. We're right in the heart of downtown, so everything's readily available. And finally, number five, proposed commercial areas should comply with the goals and policies of the Rathdrum Comprehensive Plan. And so we could go into quite a bit of detail, and I'll be able to stand for questions if you have them, but I just wanted to say we'll provide a continuation of the traditional commercial storefront buildings with architectural similarity in a walkable downtown environment. So that's the vision that the city has put before us, and that's what we would be willing to do. All right, so I wanted to keep it short and sweet. I'll let James do his presentation, and I'll be happy to stand for questions. All right, thank you.
My presentation will be the best kind because Merle has already pretty much said what needs to be said here. So the property is addressed as 15291 Coeur d'Alene Street, as we saw on my little map and Merle's. It is right down here on the corner of Main. It's the southwest corner of the intersection of Main and Coeur d'Alene. Let's see, the request is to change from its current zoning of R3 to general commercial C1. There we go. So that map showing the blue with the white arrow, that is the current limits of the downtown district, and as mentioned, the property is located there. There's our zoning map showing that the property is currently zoned R3. It's basically surrounded in every direction by industrial uses or commercial uses except going down Coeur d'Alene to the south. As mentioned, it does comply with RCC 1510 amendments to the zoning map. It is not located in the downtown district as shown on the future land use map, but as pointed out, the future land use map is not supposed to be solid. This is what it is, and that's why we have that allowance for properties located within 300 feet of the boundary being able to go either way. In review of the application, I find that the application is not only compliant with Rathdrum City Code, but also with the comprehensive plan. And that's about it.
All right. Anybody have any questions? All right, so since there's nobody in the audience besides the applicant, can I just have the applicant have any closing statements?
If he wants to rebut or make
Yeah.
closing statements.
Yeah, or anything.
No, as long as you don't have any questions, then I'm happy with those.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so the hearing is now closed. All right, what do you all think about this?
I think it's in consideration of what the city plans to do with Main Street. I think it goes right hand in hand with the whole downtown design.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't have any issues.
I don't have any objections to it. It looked good.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody have a motion you'd like to make?
I'd like to make a motion, recommend zone map amendment to rezone it to commercial, a recommendation to rezone it to commercial.
All right. Would you like, I'll amend your motion that approval with recommended conditions of approval? So with whatever was recommended in the applicant?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that the same thing?
Kind of as presented. I've presented there are conditions that they have to sign a development
Right,
agreement,
right,
et
right.
cetera. Those are standard.
Okay.
But we're not adding any
Yeah.
additional conditions, so I'd say as presented.
Yeah, as presented, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Is there a second?
A second.
I second the motion.
Okay,
Right.
Ken? Okay, roll call vote. Ken?
Aye.
Nick?
Yes.
Nita?
Aye.
Cindy?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you. All right, so now we will have consideration of True North subdivision short plat.
Yes, the next item before us tonight is the consideration of the True North subdivision short plat. This is the property down near down 4th Street, just east of the intersection with Arbor. The property address is 8339 West 4th. Directly across from the parking lot for Stub Myers on the north side. There used to be, you can kind of see it in that image, a manufactured home in the center of the parcel. Let's see. They want to subdivide it into 4 lots, which 4 or fewer lots is managed by our short plat process rather than our long subdivision. It meets the future land use map for R3 because it's been R3 since the future land use map and our zoning map were created back in 1981. This is just a division of the property. The property meets the requirements. The proposed short plat meets the subdivision requirements for a short plat. All lots are being provided with water and sewer. There's a public road being built to give them all frontage as required. So there's really, it's got residential all the way around except to the direct south, which is where the park is. Let's see. Title 12, short plats, the requirements say that the proposed lots meet all established lot and size and width requirements. For the R3, that's a minimum lot size of 6,000 square feet. Here, one of them is 7,500 and the other 3 are greater than 9. So they meet that requirement. Adequate water and sewer disposal are available. They're previously provided to the property. City engineer indicates no issue with the additional dwelling units there. Those mains, water and sewer are both available within 4th Street currently and will be extended up into the short plat in the public right of way. They're getting a little cul-de-sac. I'll show that to you in a minute. So part C, all proposed lots abut the existing and maintained public street. We're constructing that street as a part of the process. And the decision to approve a short subdivision will not be contrary to the public interest. I am unaware of any way that this would be contrary to public interest. Let's see, we got this application back on March 21st. I deemed it complete. We're separating the property into 4 lots, being 14,483 square feet, 10,297, 14,212, and 8,630 square feet respectively. Properties are zoned R3. The effective future land use map designates the property as existing residential. It's compliant with RCC 12.2 and RCC 12.27A states that the Planning and Zoning Commission shall recommend approval when the required conditions are met. Just, that's always on there, but according to RCC 12.2, short plat applications are administrative, require no public hearing, but they do require a recommendation and a decision from council. So we're here today for that recommendation. That's all I have for you today.
All right.
can they put townhomes or something else on there other than a single?
They
Family.
certainly can. The R3 allows up to 3 dwelling units per parcel, with one dwelling unit allowed at 6,000 square feet, a second at 7,500, and the third at 9,000, so 1,500 square feet additional lot size. Gives you up to 3 per parcel, so they can build triplexes.
And will it have, I saw the Northern Lights Fire Protection District letter that they had in there in that packet.
Mhm.
And, yeah, it addressed the fact that it would be slower time to get, if there was a fire.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming that, will it bring down or degrade the, water PSI?
I would say not noticeably or measurably. So we're talking about the maximum dwelling units that can be put in there is 3, 6, 9, 11. Right?
Okay.
We're not talking about a 500 unit subdivision
Yeah.
that could cause massive
That's
drawdown.
right,
We're
yeah.
talking about a very small localized thing. And reduced time for response, I don't believe that their letter indicated that the construction of those 11 units would cause a delayed time. It's just their overall capacity, because they're North County wide.
Mhm.
Could be delayed shortly. I don't imagine that, honestly, it would take much longer to get to this lot we just looked at than the one around the corner. So when I say longer time, I think that's pretty non-specific, and they're kind of covering their own. So to say that we might not be there as fast as we'd like to be, but they're still coming.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted that clarified.
Sure thing.
Alright. Any more questions or anything about the deliberation? Does anybody have a motion they'd like to make?
Yeah, the way they have it laid out and everything is fine, but
Well,
yeah.
I move to recommend approval.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright,
Thank you.
motion passes. Alright, so we don't have any visitors. So is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.